Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is Troy Brittingham.
And this is a podcast.
It sure is a podcast. I'm Jeff Ackerman, and we are doing episode 3 of She-Hulk. Not to be confused with Shulk, who is a character in a Nintendo game that's title escapes me, but I know...
Super Smash. It's Super Smash.
He's just in Super Smash. And we have a theme song.
TB&J!
A lot of blood, sweat, and punk rock tears went into this.
Mostly tears.
TB&J!
It's like 90% tears.
TB&J!
98% tears.
TB&J!
So, if you're new to the TB&J podcast, I don't know why you picked this one as your first episode, but either way, the way we do things around here is we normally give media either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, because the rules of the internet state you can only really like or hate something.
There's no in between.
There's no in between, there's no middle ground, there's no nuance. So, we always give things a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Nuance is bad and makes you have to think, and that makes my brain hurt.
Yeah. And, we're all just little tiny baby people. So we don't think, we don't have our
people.
brains.
People.
Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down on episode 3.
I think I'm going to say thumbs down.
Really?
I think so.
That's great, because I'm a thumbs up, and now we have conflict.
It's a part of the reason I went with thumbs down. I was on the edge. And
You're on the edge?
We watched it together, and I knew from your reactions that you liked it, so...
Well, so here's the thing. This show in general does a really good job of, making me laugh out loud, which normally when I watch things, even stand-up comedy, I usually, enjoy it a lot. Stand-up comedy is my favorite things in the world, but I don't normally laugh out loud. She-Hulk's making me laugh out loud. And, that's unusual for me, but I really, really enjoy it. I think her fourth wall breaks are really fucking great, especially when we hear about Wong in this episode, and she has to stop while driving and turn through the passenger window and tell us this is not going to be a cameo of the week episode, except for Bruce and Emil Blonsky and Wong. Maybe this is... she sits there and thinks about it, and I'm just like, wow, that's fucking hilarious. This episode does a really good job of just making me laugh. And then they threw the Wrecking Crew in there at the end. And the Wrecking Crew, from what I remember as a kid reading comics, they were always a joke villain. Like the fucking Condiment King from the old Batman show.
Eventually, yeah, because the power scaling kind of went up in a lot of Marvel stuff. But
superheroes basically became gods.
Yeah, originally they were pretty big deals.
When do you think that changed? Not to get too far off topic, because I want to
just sort of when superheroes got kind of more powerful in general. You
became gods instead of superheroes. Because nowadays I feel like the Avengers are literal gods basically,
right?
And they stop other gods. It just seems like a very strange power dynamic.
I think it's a certain point when they tried to make it more adult in general, and I don't necessarily know exactly when that is.
This is why we need D. We need the old person around.
I remember in
I remember back
X-Men
when
47,
and I bought it for a penny farthing.
Isn't penny farthing the bike?
Oh shit! I meant to say a wheat penny, but I said penny farthing. I'm leaving it in to make myself sound stupider.
Yeah, but I think that when they try to make him a little more adult-ish, and you can get away with... There's old DC comics specifically for Superman, where Superman is busting people who were illegally betting on football games or something, and you're he can throw people into space.
Well, back when he came about, back in 39. He couldn't fly. He could just leap over tall buildings.
But it's crazy though, because for a long period of time, he's actually weaker now, because they kind of powered everybody down to kind of ground everybody a little bit more. Superman just had whatever power could get him out of a situation of the week.
Basically.
Way back then. There was a power that he had. It's one of my favorite powers because it's so stupid. He used to be able to lower his sleeve, and he could send out a smaller Superman out of his sleeve that had all the same powers.
What?
It's a real thing. Look it up. He literally would open up his sleeve, and a smaller Superman would go out and fight the bad guy for him.
Holy shit.
Yep, it's real.
That's so fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. And then I think there was a point in time where they're like, "Hey guys, we can't do this anymore."
What?
Nobody likes this.
This is so strange. I don't even. It was introduced in 1958. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
Shooting
sometimes after 58.
A mini Superman from his fingers. Here he is shooting rainbows out of his fingers.
Yeah, no, he could do anything, and that's it makes me I think it's funny when people are like, Superman can just beat everybody. I'm like, they've really toned him down.
But he can still beat anybody.
There's power levels. There's weight classes.
Yeah, now it's more realistic. You gotta
the guy who flies through the air and shoots lasers out of his eyes from space is realistic now.
Anyway, not to get too far off topic, because, DC is not in this conversation at all, nor should they be, because, they're floundering and they suck balls lately, with the exception of Matt Reeves, the Batman.
Well, don't worry, but Batgirl's going to be pretty good, I think.
Oh, you didn't hear. Oh, man.
Nope, let's get back to She-Hulk.
Yes, let's get back to She-Hulk. And, so, Troy, what do you not like about this episode?
I think...
And don't say the Wrecking Crew.
No, actually, I do like the Wrecking Crew, even though I don't think that the fight scene was filmed great, and also she clearly killed those young children.
She beat a man with another man.
Yeah, there were some hits in there. I'm just like, I think he turns to Mist here, because she's also like not been doing this.
I mean, she has to be doing like what Spider-Man does in the comics and pulling those punches.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just saying. I feel like she wouldn't know how to do that yet. But also, I'm not gonna. That's not this type of show. I feel like, so I'm not really harping on it.
She might. I mean, she got all the fucking Hulk experience from Banner, as well as the power.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, there's a whole training episode, I guess. But my real problem with it is I don't think I like any of the B plot in this.
Oh, the B plot was just ridiculous.
It's a little too much, and I thought that the shape-shifting elf woman was like terrible.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
know. Nothing against whatever woman played her. I don't know if it's somebody who's like a cameo or not. But to me it just seemed like some woman. But almost every scene of that I was not into. And then there just comes back to things that we were talking about last episode, where there's just like things where there's jokes. You were talking about laughing out loud about things. I thought there were still jokes, like Dee was saying, where the delivery and the buildup was all there, and there was stuff that just didn't punch. I think that there's some things that did, some things that didn't. You were talking about the fourth. I keep saying third wall.
Fourth wall breaking.
Fourth wall breaking. Gotta remember, there's 4 walls to every room. Except for triangle rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying that you were saying that the fourth wall breaks are really good. Those are the ones that I consistently did like smile at or chuckle at. But there are a few jokes in there. I'm trying to come up with one off the top of my head.
In the B plot?
Of just in general, where like I feel like the delivery should have gotten me there, but it didn't carry me the rest of the way. There
was a joke that they did where the shapeshifter like comes back into the law firm, and she's like impersonating Pug and saying like, "I love harassing women," and walking through the office, and then he comes out and he's like, "Not cool. You guys know me. I'm not like that." And like I laughed, but looking back, I'm like, that was a dumb joke. It was kind of.
I mean, that one's okay. The ones that got me were the fourth wall breaks that I actually liked, and I did like most of the stuff from Wong, but I don't know if that's just the fact that I like Wong.
Yeah.
When they're just like, you
committed
Mr.
a crime,
Wong.
right?
Yeah, you admitted
I must
to a crime.
depart.
Yeah.
Or when he introduces himself, it's like, "So, Mr. Wong," he's like, "Just Wong, Sorcerer Supreme." Master of the mystic arts.
Yeah, like that. That's
Also
all,
librarian of Kamatage.
yeah. That's all great. And like, and when he leaves, him saying "I must depart" and then leaving through the portal is enough. But then Jen going over and like fixing the lamp and then just kind of standing there and looking
Awkwardly.
at them, like that sold it for me. That
That
got
was
me
good.
there.
That was good.
But not all of them. I would say only about 50% of them do that for me.
Yeah, I believe that was Dee's complaint in the last episode as well,
Mm-hmm.
is that some of the jokes are written like jokes, they just don't land very well for him.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's just like a different style of humor that maybe we don't appreciate necessarily. Because like, just to peel back the curtain, we're on a podcast. I'll give you $10,000 if you guess what we look like. Here's a hint. We're fucking white guys, all right? That's that. There you go. Like it's no fucking secret, right? But like, maybe these jokes aren't for me. You know what I mean? Or maybe like I'm just not getting it. I always try to like take a step back whenever I'm not getting something, and I'm just like, okay, is this because I'm a straight white guy, or is this because it's bad? Because like I don't fucking know. I don't know a fucking thing. I've lived a pretty sheltered life in suburbia.
I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just. It needs. I think a lot of it comes down to editing. Mm-hmm. I think that there's ways that they could shoot the things a little bit better from like a different angle, or try to do things that could like help punch the joke. Because like if you think about the Wong scene where he goes through the portal, he goes through the portal. I must depart.
I must depart.
It zooms in on the judge. And he's like, you know that you just admitted to a crime, and it like zooms in, the music swells a little bit, music stops, cuts back to Wong. He goes, "I must depart," and then opens up the portal, cuts to a wide shot. He goes through the portal closes, and then
and then you get Jen fixing the mic and standing there.
and it's just this big open room with a lot of dead space in it, and makes it more awkward. And I'm like, yeah, the camera makes this joke funnier.
Okay.
And I think that there's some jokes where I'm like, if you did this slightly differently, I think it would play better.
Yeah, like one of my favorite jokes when she's breaking the fourth wall and saying it's not a cameo of the week show. It's extra funny because she's driving and then stops and just turns towards the audience.
Right, and the cars are all clearly moving in the background, and she's still on like the freeway. Like it's like
it's very clearly like she's not driving. Mm-hmm. Of course she's not fucking driving. It's fake.
Yeah, and those are the things that still work for me in the show, which is why I'm the thumbs down was mostly to be in opposition to you, but also I still had
don't give away all our secrets, Troy. Come on.
Listen, if
next we're gonna find out Dee's actually like a nice guy and not a piece of shit.
Well, that's not true. But like it. Yeah, but like the camera definitely plays a role in how and like also just like cutting things at certain times.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah,
and that's. I feel like flip side of that.
Okay,
camera work was really good when Emil was trying to prove his point and become the abomination and prove he was still in control, because that was a lot of close-up shots and a lot of like cutting to different people in the room, and it made me feel claustrophobic as fuck. It really made me feel like that room just got 10 times smaller. And to everyone that was physically there watching Emil turn into the abomination, it probably did feel smaller for them, because now you've got this fucking massive monster in the middle. Like, I feel like the camera work did a good job relaying that to us, the audience, by using closer shots and by cutting quickly to all the different people, like all the guards like flooding into the room, all the members of the committee that like stood up out of their chairs, like pressed against the wall. You got Jen rushing over trying to calm Emil down, even though he's completely fine. He's fine enough that he like carefully sets his Crocs down and like gets himself a
I did
blankie.
like the fact that he has Crocs.
I mean, it's prison. You either have Crocs or Toms, because it has to be slip-ons. They can't be lethal. They have to be soft shoes. Ask me how I know, Troy. Don't actually. I've never served prison time. I'm just gonna put that out there before anybody jumps to conclusions.
He's never been caught.
I'm a good noodle. But I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this thought that I had in my head. Like the B plot basically just followed that stupid.
Troy, I love you. You're a valued friend, and I'm glad that we're doing a podcast together.
No, that's not what I was going to say at all.
Okay.
I was going to say the B plot. I didn't really care about it
Mm-hmm.
at all. It was probably the biggest detractor for this episode. It's just the fucking chauvinistic guy from the DA's office got scammed by a shape-shifting elf.
He has so far done nothing for me at all yet.
No, I don't give a shit about him. Like, I get it. He's like a piece of shit, and like I know that guys like that do exist, and it sucks.
But we just did The Boys, and like he's not the same shape of asshole, but like
Soldier Boy. Or
no, I was
Homie?
gonna say The Deep.
The Deep,
Because The Deep is like an idiot who like gets himself into trouble because of who he is and stuff like that. And this guy's not, he's not half as bad as The Deep because you can't do The Deep in a Marvel show. Because
no, you can't. Can't do the Deep in anything that's less than R,
Yeah,
and that's not gonna happen in a Marvel show. At least not in our lifetime.
Yeah, but he's like especially like season 1 Deep, like he's like that sort of like weird, like creepy dude type of thing, but he's like also like an idiot.
This guy's just an idiot.
Well, I mean, The Deep is just an idiot, but The Deep is funnier and better.
Yeah. Well, the Deep is like charming, kind of. This guy's not charming.
Yeah.
And I say charming in like the loosest fucking sense because the Deep is a sexual predator and
Right.
he's a fucking asshole.
It's more of
get it.
the actor and the writing is the charming thing, and I don't have anything against this guy personally, I guess, but like
I think part of that comes down to just the showrunners because like Kripke obviously is a huge veteran of this business we call show business. He's been he fucking Supernatural
and
alone.
I also want to clear for the record, I'm not in any way comparing this show to The Boys because that's immediately not a fair comparison. Not only is it not the same type of show, but we already knew that She-Hulk was not going to be The Boys good.
Right. But like Jessica Gao is a comedy writer first.
Yeah.
Whereas Kripke is a drama writer first. And I feel like with the drama of The Boys, it's easier to have funnier moments because as soon as anything is even slightly funny, it gets funnier in contrast to its surroundings.
Yeah.
It's harder to have those huge jokes in a sitcom when you get like a little laugh every few minutes.
Right, when you're feeling very, very tense and then somebody drops a joke and it's very funny.
Exactly. So I do want to I want to be careful about drawing comparisons between two very different media.
Also, like I said, different weight classes. We knew that
Absolutely.
She-Hulk was not going to be better.
No, but I don't think it doesn't have the potential to be. I mean,
yeah, technically everything has the potential to be better than anything else.
sure. But like, not to give too much away, but like, obviously I don't like this show as much as The Boys yet. But like, we also haven't seen the big overarching plot yet. We know that Jennifer is fighting this like internal struggle of like, do I have to be She-Hulk or can I just be Jennifer Walters, attorney at law? And then is that like the big overarching story? Because like there's characters we haven't met yet. We haven't met Daredevil yet, and we know he's in this show. How does he play in? Is it actually like a throwaway joke, or is it like he's actually a part of this plot? We don't know what the fuck is going on with Bruce up in space. Is that going to be part of this?
I don't think that's going to be part of this. I think that's going to be part of whenever they do Secret Invasion stuff. I think they want to do
Secret Wars. Is it Secret Wars or Secret Invasion?
There's two different things.
Okay, but I know Secret Wars is the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, Secret Invasion is the Skrulls. Secret Wars is...
Is that not Skrull related?
I mean, they could wrap it into that. I think that Secret Wars is more like they go to a big war planet and they all fight each other.
That sounds lame. It sounds like they already did that in Thor.
No, this is more of like an all the characters kind of. It's like it's
like Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, everyone's here, and that's when Shulk shows up.
Ah, we tied it back in.
Pivotal character from Super Smash Brothers and nothing else. Don't look into it.
I will say that was my favorite part of the entire B plot. When they were sitting there towards the end of the show in the bar, which I just found out. It's called Legal Ease, EASE, like take it easy. So it's absolutely funny. But like, it's a lawyer bar, like strictly a lawyer bar. How is that profitable? I don't know. I've never heard of just a lawyer bar.
Well, you're not a lawyer. You're not in the
I
in
get,
crowd.
yeah, that's right. I don't know the secret handshake to get in.
Yeah, I mean, we can always go to the podcasting bar, and everybody knows about the podcasting bar.
Yeah, it's a bunch of tables that are like 6 feet apart from each other, and they have mics set up, and nobody talks to each other. They just go to the tables and do their own episodes.
So a lot of white guys.
Too many white guys. But when they tie the plots together, when they're sitting there it's Jen and her friend like sitting there having a drink, talking about how like she doesn't want to be She-Hulk, and then Pug just shows up. Pugliasi is his actual name. Fucking mwah. Fucking loved that.
My favorite part of the episode was not whenever they said the name, but whenever they said the name and you reacted to it.
It's such a beautiful name. Pugliasi. It's like I'm singing to you, but I'm just saying this man's name. Pugliasi.
You know, if you legally changed your last name to that, I would have to say that every episode. Except the fact that I don't say your name every episode.
It's funny. This is completely off topic. My fiance does not want to take my last name when we get married, and we have discussed the possibility of taking a new last name together. Pugliasi.
Picking neither name?
Picking neither name and just taking a new name
That's
together.
interesting. I've never heard of that before.
I have.
Really?
Yeah, actually. I knew a couple who got married, and he was like Dambrowski, and she was like Blagojevich. No, not even kidding. I'm pretty sure those were their names. And they got married and took Revere as their name together. So now all their kids
because
are
they
like,
love Paul.
Honestly, yeah, because they both came to America as immigrants, and they wanted to raise their children as Americans, so they took an American last name, and they chose Revere. So all their kids are now
clearly have
Reveres.
not played Assassin's Creed 3.
Too many people did not, actually, because Assassin's Creed 3 sucks. Anyway, not the point. But yeah, I'll try to convince Red that we should take Pugliasi as our last name, and I'll wait for her to.
Do you know how to spell that?
Pugliese. Pugliasi.
I believe you.
ASE. Pugliasi. And we could just be Mr. and Mrs. Pug.
Or consider this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What if you became Brittingham?
Pass.
It'd be very confusing.
Absolutely
for the whole
pass.
audience.
I will not go from Ackerman to Brittingham. I like being at the top of the alphabet. If I go from the top of the alphabet anywhere else, it's going to be for a joke. It's going to be Pugliasi or Dude. We have discussed taking Dude as a last name together, actually. That's a real thing that happened. So that we can be Mr. and Mrs. Dude. And I can be Jeff the Dude. Yeah, that's a real conversation we had. This is the kind of conversations my fiance and I have at 11 o'clock at night.
Actually, this is enlightening me. You have proven to me that you are the perfect couple and nothing can happen to your love, because anybody else would go, I don't know about this guy. He wants to change his last name to Dude.
She suggested it. It wasn't my idea.
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
We've also never had a fight in like 2 years. We literally have never had a fight.
Fist fight?
No, we've never had an argument. It's hilarious.
Gunfight.
Yes, we've had plenty of gunfights.
Okay.
This is America, after all. You can get a gun at any street corner.
Right.
Yeah, as long as you have 25 cents for the gumball machine, you can get a gun.
The gunball machine. Fuck.
Anyway, so She-Hulk it's doing it for me, but it hasn't shown its whole hand yet, I think. And I feel like we're starting to.
Well, the other thing is with the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, they had an ulterior motive.
They mentioned a boss.
Yes, the Wrecking Crew was trying to get a blood sample from her. And when they didn't, because they couldn't pierce her skin, the leader said the boss is going to be mad. And that's kind of how the episode ended, was like with that stuff. And who's the boss?
So I've seen a few things.
Is it Titania from episode 1?
I've seen a few things. Apparently in the comics, Titania has been tied to them before. Mm-hmm. So it could be her.
She's also infamous for being obsessed with She-Hulk.
Yes.
In the comics and in the description of the TV show.
Mm-hmm. But like, it could still be like a few people.
I mean, it could be, but at the same time,
that's the one that makes the most sense.
It makes the most sense, and we also, I think we know most of the cast by this point. I mean, I don't see like a big surprise cast reveal coming out of left field in episode 4.
Actually, Tony Stark.
Oh, he's not dead.
No.
Interesting.
And actually funded a small ragtag group of criminals.
Yeah. That sounds like an Iron Man thing to do for sure.
Yeah, very in character.
Very comic book Iron Man, at least.
So,
Do you remember when Iron Man made that hologram of himself after he had died in the comics, and the hologram was a useless alcoholic with a disheveled hair? And I was reading that thinking, wow, Tony, you could have made yourself anything. You made yourself an alcoholic? What the fuck, man?
He's true to himself. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of what other characters can be. I saw a thing online that was like, it basically picked like every super. There was one that said like it could be like the leader, who is the guy who's in the first Hulk movie.
I know who that
but like
is.
it's
No, it's either Titania or Daredevil. I'm saying it now. Boom. There you go. Titania or Daredevil.
or Daredevil.
Yep. There's my prediction.
All right,
Write that down in your notebook.
That's a pretty long shot, but
put that in your pipe and smoke it,
I
bitch.
do not have a pipe.
I don't see who else it could be.
Titania.
It's probably Titania, yeah. Because like she showed up in the first episode and she was billed as like a big villain in this show and she hasn't shown back up yet. So this is definitely Titania. I don't see it happening any other way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm curious enough to keep watching. It's not must-watch TV for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's Thursday, and I got home from work, and Troy's like, hey, we doing the thing? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Thursday.
You
right.
weren't upset to watch She-Hulk.
No, and, like, I'm not... I like watching She-Hulk, but, like, there are other things I can do.
I want to be clear. I do, too. And I was excited today to sit down and watch She-Hulk and do a podcast on it. And if we didn't have the podcast, I still would probably watch it. I've watched all the other ones except for I haven't gotten to Miss Marvel yet, which is weird because I love Miss Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Same, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love Ms. Marvel, but like I watched the first bit of the pilot and I was like, this is good.
I've heard it is good, and it's a character that I think that Miss Marvel is my favorite of all of sort of the newer aged Marvel characters, including like Miles Morales. And still have not watched the show just because of time and
drive. That's the thing. When we were an adult, time is a commodity.
Which is why I think we should abolish time.
I don't think that's how it works. I'm just going to go down a limb and tell you I don't think that's how it works.
Pretty sure it does.
Nope. So, Troy, now that we're a third of the way into She-Hulk,
yes,
let's give it a letter grade. Mm-hmm. Because on the TB&J podcast, we try to give things the good and the bad, thumbs up, thumbs down thing. But
sometimes the ugly.
But then, especially with films, at the end of it, we try to give it a more specific grade, something a little more telling of how it actually is as a piece of media, ignoring the rules of the internet. For a TV show, we decided to try to chop it up into thirds, and we'll do a letter grade after each third.
Yeah.
And then maybe like a big one at the end.
Yeah. What we can do is, you can be, a brain dead idiot who click on podcast and listen to the first few seconds and go, oh, good or bad? Yeah, good. Okay, I'll watch. Bad? No, I won't watch. Then you click off the video, you go away. But then there's you guys, you enlightened fellows, you geniuses who wait all the way to the end of a podcast because you have the attention span of more than a squirrel.
Spam.
And then you listen to our letter grade with more nuance.
Speaking of letter grades, so D could not be here today, but he did want me to share his grade. So D
letter's a D?
D has given it a B.
Mm-hmm.
He said the show is middling but never a drag. It's sometimes funny / intriguing, but far from must-see TV.
Which is pretty much what we've said here.
It's pretty much what we've said so far, yeah. It's definitely funny. It's not a drag, but I could take it or leave it, I think, at this point.
I mean, if you fucking read that at the beginning, we didn't have to do any of this. You could just wrapped it up in 15
I think
seconds.
I'm right on with D. I'm pretty sure I'm giving it like a B for right now. It's not bad by any stretch, but it's not blowing me away. And granted, I feel like it's an unfair expectation to expect a show to blow me away every time, but like, it's also Marvel. You've got a blank check for these people. You should be blowing me away, and you're not. So,
what you're saying is Kevin Feige should be blowing you.
If only.
My grade is a Q.
Your grade is a Q.
Yes.
How about a real grade?
I think that I want to give something wild, or I want to go crazy and be like F. No, I'm gonna go B though.
You're gonna go B.
It's boring because I'm the third person who's given a grade now. Mm-hmm. I'm the second. I'm only one of two people here, and I'm still third.
That's true.
My name is first in the podcast,
and I put D in front of you. How does that feel?
It feels bad.
Yeah.
But I am
Maybe
also
start watching House of the Dragon.
I haven't watched any Game of Thrones. I mean, that doesn't matter, but still.
Anyway, yeah. So the show it's definitely good. I mean, there's no way you're still on the fence if you're listening to this episode because this is episode 3. But it's good. I'm gonna keep watching it until it's
I don't know,
over.
there could be some real centrists out there.
Yeah,
The one real centrist.
the one out of the 20 people that are gonna download this episode. No, but this is definitely a good show. It's not the best, but there's also not a whole lot of competition right now.
Mm-hmm.
At least until tomorrow when
It is
Rings
a
of Power
totally-
comes out.
It is a totally serviceable show that's fun to watch, has some good jokes, has a bunch of your favorite characters, but it probably won't change your life.
Yeah, and that's fine. It doesn't. Not every TV show needs to change your life. It can just be a good TV show to put on for some funnies before bed, and that's fine. I mean, that's what fucking New Girl was for me for a couple years in high school. So yeah, I want some funnies before bed. Let me put on New Girl, and it did its job. And that's fine. But yeah, that's where we stand on She-Hulk, and I think that's about it. Anything else you want to add? Perfect. Awesome. So, thank you all for listening to
I
this
actually had a
wonderful
whole
episode of the TB&J
thing that I wanted to
podcast.
go on.
Thank you to my co-host Troy
I
Brittingham
had
for joining me
actually-
today.
I have a lot more to
And
say.
I was Jeff Ackerman. If you liked what you heard,
I actually have
please
a few theories
leave
about
us
the
a
Wrecking
kind
Crew that we
review
could
on your
kinda go
favorite
into.
podcasting platform. You can give us 5 stars. You can write a nice, wordy, lengthy review. And we will read it up like delicious cookies. Do
Do you want to hear anything about Blonsky?
You can
or-
also hit us up on patreon.com/TBANDJ podcast and coffee.com/TBANDJ podcast if you think that we're worth more
I
than
have a few
$0.
more characters for my scroll list,
And-
I think.
And but most importantly, if you love us, just tell your friends to listen to us. Spread the word. Spread the good word of TB&J. I'm going to get a big black book with gold leaf pages and emboss TB&J on it and pretend it's a Bible. And I'll go to the corners of every street in Philadelphia and I'll preach the good word of TB&J.
Yeah, join our podcast compound.
Join the compound, yeah, with your 7 soulmates. That about does it. Thank you for listening. We will be continuing our coverage of House of the Dragon, and we are 99% probably going to do Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, when that drops tomorrow. We'll probably record that episode this weekend. I'm going to try to get fan favorite Chris Carroll back for that.
Ugh.
Even though he's like 700 miles away, I'm pretty sure I can get Chris on it.
We're going to fly him out here.
I definitely need
Week after
somebody.
week.
I definitely that would leave a hell of a carbon footprint and a monetary footprint. But I definitely need someone who's a bit more fantasy versed than I am, and Chris is that guy for me. So that does it for us today. Thank you all again so much, and we will catch you next time. Bye bye. Hey Troy, did you know the Philadelphia Union is going to the playoffs? They're our soccer team.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware of the footy.
Union!